The white patch below it and that little whitish patch above it is what we call lichen. And lichen is actually a combination of two organisms, believe it or not. Each organism being vital to the other's existence. One is a fungi and the other is an algae, I think. Yeah. And together they make lichen. And lichens can be of various different forms. Okay, off she goes. Lichen is one of those things that we would refer to as a litmus test for the environment, because lichens can take many years to develop, and they can only grow in clean air environments. So they are a very good indication of good clean air. Once again, drag marks. These are the same drag marks. The same drag marks that came from Magnoleti have now come out here onto this road. That's why I was smelling it. Maybe they've got a den somewhere. Maybe we can. Wow, can't believe it. To be dragging it this far, they've got to be going to a den. Ephraim, come in. Probably having coffee. Could do with a cup of rooibos right now. Some toast with eggs on the side, bit of kosher bacon.
Sure.
Maybe all the other accoutrements. Of course, would have had to have started with fruit. There's a
Stop.
juvenile battalion. Gone.
It's gonna come up again? No.
Maybe we're getting closer to this carcass. Hooded vulture, juvenile battalion. Maybe the vultures actually see drag marks. And maybe they actually recognize them as drag marks.
Track animals.
Seeing much anymore on the road in the way of drag marks and hyena tracks. Hippo tracks. See now. With that couple of Franklins sitting off of the ground. It's way too thick to get in here. But if it wasn't, I possibly would have taken a look, because whilst the hooded vulture might be one of the first to arrive, the hooded vulture is also looking out, not so much or rather, as much as it's looking out for carcasses and predators, it's also looking out for batteliers sitting in a tree. And that juvenile batelier that we just saw sitting in a tree could very well be the instigator of all these other birds, or the reason why all these other birds have arrived. Gosh, so many interesting things happening here. Take Vulture's Nest and have a look. dung is that? Could be warthog. I can't turn off the road to see it. Looks like warthog dung. Only way I can tell is to look on the road, look for tracks. And hyena, hippo, giraffe, and I don't see warthog. Doesn't mean anything. Might not have walked here, might have walked across the road and dropped his dung. Oh. Morning, Sipiwe. Sipiwe is flying the ship now. Lots of hyena tracks here all over Sardine. We'll take hyena, not hyena road, it was hyena road we just passed. We'll take Vulture's Nest and have a look. Down Vulture's Nest. This is where the giraffe came from. The 5-6 that we saw all came from this area, must have crossed over the drainage line somewhere and then headed up to quarantine and now heading down towards Philemon's Dip. I found a very interesting thing, a toy. Sadly it's broken. A scarab. This is what happens at the end of the summer. These poor children die off. They put its head back on. I can't. It's just disintegrating because it's just the skeleton. Everything else has gone. As you can see, a couple of tiny little ants. Go home. A couple of little ants. Shame. Now I'm going to take them miles away. It's going to take them 2 years to get all the way back here. Anyways, dung beetle. Thought I could take it home, but it's in pieces. The ants are actually eating the little membranes in between all the segments, and that's why it's falling apart. That's all the ants can eat. Nothing can really eat that hard outer shell. Okay, onward home. Vulture's Nest Road. Sorry. Warming up nicely. I had a suspicion that those drag marks cut off of Central Road somewhere behind us and have come out here somewhere, and I think, yep, here they are. Right here. I've been dragging this thing around halfway around the world. Anybody's guess. Unless it's a different animal that was being, not that possible. That this is another animal being dragged this way to the hyena clan from a different area. It's very, very hard ground. I'm not seeing any tracks here. It looked like it was being dragged that way. Go ahead.
How are you?
Fine, and you, good?
Yes, can't complain. Any much of that?
No, just a lot of drag marks, a lot of vultures, and some really weird stuff going on around Gowrie Dam.
Okay, lekker. Have you checked in then?
No, I didn't make it all that way yet. I did a big loop around Quarantine, did Rachel's, Rebecca's and Zoe's. And I've just done Central, found drag marks again, probably the same ones that came out onto Central Road, and more drag marks on Vulture's Nest. And I found the remains of a genet below the dam wall, and there are a bunch of vultures on the junction of Central and Gowrie Cat Line.
Yeah, so I visited them yesterday. I don't know what they're doing there. I thought last night they were just sitting in the tree roosting for the night, but yeah, they're still there now. Maybe something is happening.
There's also a juvenile batelier. The thing is, they're all in the tree, and some of them got full crops, so they have been feeding yesterday on something.
Okay, lekker. Yeah, I'm going to do Leadwood Drive down towards Tundam. You go around there and then from a car from there.
Copy. Catch you this afternoon.
Super.
So the vultures have been around since yesterday. That's why I thought it was a bit too early for them to have arrived this morning on the scene. So they were around since yesterday. What have we got here? Elephant tracks. That's old. Elephant bull going the opposite way. Lots of hyena tracks on top of it. Last night. And okay. Morning, Sapiwe. Interesting question there. Is that Raymond or Simon? Asking. Simon, thanks, Sapiwe. Boulder, Colorado. Simon is asking, if an animal breaks its leg, would that mean would that be the death sentence for that animal? Paraphrasing there. Oops. Let's try first gear, not third. Okay, I'll need a drink of water for this one. Generally, Simon, yes. Animal breaks its leg. It is most likely going to be taken out by a predator. Of course, we've got to really sort of establish what kind of animal we're talking about here. We're talking about a prey species that breaks its leg as a target. It depends on the break. If it's a clean break, there's not really much chance of it healing itself. Any animal that has a clean break requires at least some support for that bone to knit. Now animals more than humans have this ability to set pain aside, the endorphins and things that the brain produces, so that the animal isn't really crippled with pain, that an animal is able to still continue feeding and continuing almost as it normally would. Nothing, Ephraim.
Police morning is required.
Yeah, but interesting for you, I found those drag marks coming out on Central Road and Vulture's Nest.
Okay, copy.
And more Makoti and Shumungwe also, just off Central Road, junction with Garikat line.
Okay, copy. Look at England Gonzo.
Nothing this side. I think they must be either Wiyatela side or still around the lodge.
Copy.
But there's Mpisi Mkonzo everywhere.
Yeah, even Babursuk is a Manigan Gonzo for PC.
I'm thinking that maybe the Mkonzo, the drag marks that I've got Central Road, Vulture's Nest, maybe even be something else.
Copy.
Kavi. No comment, in other words. Hyenas have all been here as well. As well. Try and say it like Tara. As well. As well? Kind of like one word. As well. An animal that breaks its leg, it isn't a clean break, that maybe just a fracture. There's a possibility that that will heal. Another thing we have to distinguish between the predators and prey. Predators, unfortunately, in the most circumstances, predators are going to starve because they're not going to be able to hunt unless it's a lion or something. But even then, being in a pride and having other members of the pride being able to hunt and provide food doesn't necessarily ensure survival, because animals got to be able to get around. Now, it's not impossible. There have been cases of animals that have survived. One finds all sorts of weird things after animals have been killed and eaten by predators, and you start looking at bones, and you can sometimes see healed fractures in bone. But I think, yeah, most of the time, sadly, an animal that breaks its leg becomes food for another animal. And so much so that nature is, that there are animals that depend, pretty much, they depend on the sick and the lame and the injured. That old male lion that can no longer run very fast and hunt, been pushed out of his territory by maybe a new coalition or a new male. His teeth are being worn, his teeth have worn down. He's not as agile as he used to be. There's another vulture in the distance. I'm so glad I'm driving this afternoon, because I need to follow up on some of the roads we haven't done this morning. But that old lion that can't hunt for himself, his last days, months, maybe a year or two, he's going to depend on an animal that has sadly has an injury like that. I see a vervet monkey in a leadwood. Move so we can see it better. I don't know if there are any monkeys shouting. I think he's just sitting in the tree for sunlight. She is. Oops. Hello, primate. Hello, fellow primates. Where's your clan? Sitting in the morning sun. Not convinced that monkey is sitting there just for the sake of getting morning sunshine. There's too much of a concentrated stare going on, which we need to look at, and that would mean going Central Road. But there's another monkey coming up. I don't think it could be. There was something they might be shouting, but if there's something far enough away, maybe not. But this primate does seem to be staring off. Oh wait, it's a vulture that it's looking at there, I can see. Far in the distance there's a vulture that it's probably looking at. Okay, I don't know how much time we got left, but maybe just at least get up Central Road a little bit and see if there's any more.
20 minutes. Bit more than 20 minutes.
Okay. Still getting warm now, and I've still got about 1, 2, I don't know, 4 or 5 layers on. I could quite easily be in just shirt sleeves right now. One layer. Some more monkeys up in the trees, the tops of the trees. Head up Central Road a little ways. Reminder, we are live. This is Juma Game Reserve. My name is Mark. I'm the presenter for today. Herman is on camera with me this morning. And at the moment, Sapiwe is in final control. Okay, just going through a dip, should be back. Nothing up here. Okay. I'm actually going to start heading back the other way. Leave investigating this part of the world for this afternoon's drive. Oops. And we don't stall. Interesting. Now just going through the dip. Couple of signal problems there. Proof that we are live. Only through a live broadcast from a really remote area, far away from towns and cities, driving a vehicle through the bushveld. If we didn't get breakup, then you'd have to worry. Because then you'd know maybe we edited it out or something, because I think technology's still got a little way to go. As great as it is, as fantastic as it is, that we can be doing this. We can be driving through the bush with a camera on a Land Rover. Say that again, with a camera on a Land Rover. Sony camera on a I'm joking, folks. I'm not plugging product. That we can actually do this. That we can drive through the bush and bring you these images. I sometimes have to sort of take a double take, do a double take. That we're able to do this. I was looking at hyena tracks because my heart took a little bit of a beating, a little bit of a leap there. There's a very young hyena, I don't know, yeah, a very young hyena whose back foot about the size of a wild dog print. Of course, that's different.
So did you check Claire's on it? I was being there this morning, but now I'm on the bottom of the south. Okay, well, yeah, because there was even Conver, yeah, active jam on the southern side, but yeah, maybe some yesterday, sort of more on Conver over the side. So yeah, in the, on the northern side, it was
I recall. Greg, I saw that. Is that Mafazium Konza? I saw that with Patrick yesterday afternoon.
I had Mafazium Konza, yeah, also yesterday, but going west on the southern side of Shuakem. It was the same one you got?
Yeah, affirmative, west on the southern side.
And I had a young brother, it looked like maybe one of the boys, right just when you go onto the wall. There's nothing on the actual road itself on the southern side, but only there you've got that little road itself as you go down towards the dam on the southern side. got one in corridor there. That's covered from yesterday evening.
Okay, yeah, copied. Oh, that Mafazim Kwanzaa went across Gary Main.
Yeah, I saw because Graham had shadow that morning. It was on in the morning, and I'm sure it was was on the other side.
Okay, copy. Yeah, these drag marks again. Okay, now these see, now I'm looking at these drag marks. They go that way, they don't go that way. These drag marks came out and go this way. Other drag marks come from Manuleti, so there were 2 carcasses dragged around last night. I'll just check these drag marks again on Central. They actually come from the east heading west. And culminate, or rather maybe end up somewhere here where these vultures were. These vultures also could have been the vultures that were sitting around Gari Dam that flew here. But I still got the very distinct scent of a carcass. We'll just go and check along Gari cut line. Nose is normally pretty good with carcasses. I've been able to follow the scent of a carcass for quite long periods. It's not as good as a hyena's or a dog's, but when you do get a fairly strong scent of a carcass, it's not very difficult to keep it upwind of you and keep following it. But I'm not getting anything again now. Only hope to look for maybe tracks. Well, if anything, we've laid some tire tracks down on a lot of the roads surrounding all this activity. If any of these leopards move across the road now, between now and PM Drive, they'll be on top of our tracks. I've also made sure that I haven't driven any of the roads that some of the Juma vehicles have driven, because they've driven some of the other roads. So this afternoon when we head out, we'll be able to see if there's been any movement of leopards or anything really around Gari Dam since this morning. Hippopotamus tracks. A wire or something. Again. Dangerous items to be lying around the bush. Blow dry. Okay, while I've stopped, got to do this, folks. Just got to get this off layer by layer, and eventually the face getting a bit red there from the sun. Still way too hot. I have to wait. Take my buff off. That's the other thing that's keeping me warm. The buff, JP's buff. That's what it's called. A little bit better, still uncomfortable. I'll be comfortable when I get back later, when I can take off. I'm going to put my shorts on and take off my shorts. Spend the rest of the day in summer wear. That's what happens this time of the year when we have about a 20-degree difference per day. Let's hope that this is the quiet before the storm. A lull in elephant and other animal activity before a very busy afternoon this afternoon. Let's put that thought out there to the universe. Write it off as just a cold morning's drive through the bushveld. It's been lovely, it's been fun. We're at the top of the hill. Should be back when we get to the top of this hill. Sounds like there's a squirrel in the jigger. line now. Okay, thanks. Well, finally got back to us. Although that little bit of a slope coming up from Gowrie cut line that we lose you. You lose us, we lose you. We're heading west along Biffles cut line now. A bunch of zebra tracks heading east. Well, hopefully some of you are still awake and there's still some of you around. Thanks for joining myself and Herman on the jigger this morning. It's been fun being with you. It was lovely with the giraffe, had a lovely time with the mongoose. Interesting conundrums and puzzles that we found this morning. All sorts of drag marks and half-eaten carcasses. And a bunch of vultures hanging around since yesterday. Maybe this afternoon we'll get some answers. Maybe we'll never get some answers. Was that your lion from the other day?
My lion.
Huh?
Your lion.
My lion?
Your lion.
I recall you saying also it looked like a lion. Maybe it was because I kept prompting you to back me up. No, I said this blurred image on the screen. Okay, here we are, bottom of the dip, Tambuti Pan, Tambuti Dam, Booba Road. I'm going to take another road home so we can maybe find some tracks and cut out a little bit of tracking time for this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. My name is Mark. Herman's been on camera. Kaz and Sipiwe and Afka have been in final control, and it's been a lovely morning. Do join us again this afternoon. I'll be out again this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to it. Bye for now.